What's up, fuckers? It seems like our dub license has expired. Time to change that. Today I wanted to kind of just talk about a topic that's pretty common in tricking, I fear, and that is feeling stuck in tricking. So maybe you feel like you're not really making any progress, or maybe you're even getting worse in some aspects. And this can be pretty difficult for some people. I know that it's very difficult for me. It doesn't feel nice to not get better, especially when you're a very goal-oriented person, but it definitely does happen. I think the chances of feeling stuck in tricking get bigger and bigger the better you get, because when you're just starting out, maybe you only know one or two tricks, so it's really easy to progress at the two tricks, because first of all, you're not good at them yet, and then second of all, you're only doing those two tricks. But then when you get better, all of a sudden the standard is higher, and maybe you also know hundreds of tricks. So even though a few tricks are improving, maybe you still feel like you're getting worse because you used to be better at some other tricks because you just used to train them a lot more. And I think it's important to remind yourself that progress is not linear. You will not always improve. Sometimes you will get worse for a certain amount of time. It's important to remind yourself that this is okay and this is a normal part of progress. You may have some small injuries, maybe life just gets in the way, or maybe you're just feeling off. Sometimes it just doesn't feel right. You should also be mindful of not being too harsh on yourself. Of course, some criticism is always good if you want to make progress, but sometimes I look back at some of my old clips and I'm like, damn, that was actually a really, really good combo, or that was actually a really nice clip. Even though I remember that in that moment I wasn't very satisfied with the clip at all. So it's very possible that you just feel like you're stuck, when in reality you're just too harsh on yourself. You're just focusing on one trick that's getting worse and not seeing all of the other tricks that are getting better, or you're looking at too short of a time frame. It's normal to have a few bad sessions. It's also normal to have a few bad sessions in a row. It happens, you know. And that's also a big tip on how to feel better about your tricking. It's to look over a longer time frame. Because when you look back a year, maybe 2 years, you should see big improvements. When I look back at my sampler from a year ago, I definitely see some very cool tricks and combos, but I also look back at some of the clips and I'm like, oh damn, I could hit that any session now if I really wanted to. So sometimes it's good to remind yourself that you are making progress, but maybe it's just not happening as fast as you wanted to. And you also have to remind yourself of why you do tricking in the first place. Because at the end of the day, I would assume that most of you guys do tricking because you like the feeling, or you like the look of certain stuff, and you like the way it makes you feel knowing you can do all of these tricks. So maybe just do some tricks that feel fun for you. Maybe do some easy stuff. Maybe do some stuff that looks good, just to remind yourself of why you do tricking and that you don't always have to push for the next big power move. Yeah, that was my mindset advice for today. And I do want to remind you guys that this part of the video is AI generated. I don't do kicks, I never have, and I never will. But yeah, I will say that whilst editing this, I did want to cut out some of the dub fails, but I decided to leave them in because it's just the reality of the situation. My dub swings are a little bit rusty and maybe they used to be a little bit better. And that's tricking, you know? If I landed more combos than I failed, I probably would think that I'm not pushing myself hard enough. And I would say failure can actually be a fun part of tricking as well. And I'll let these clips run for a little while and then I'll tell you guys what I do after training. So yeah, that was it. That was also it with the training. And after training, we'll usually go for a quick swim to cool off on these summer nights. And then when I get home, I make my dinner, which consists of skyr, which is a low-fat yogurt. I like to dilute it with milk because I like the thinner consistency. Then I'll add some cinnamon for taste. I'll add an apple, some almonds, and then top it off with honey. And this is very high in protein. It contains a lot of vitamins and minerals. It's all whole foods, and it's also highly satiating. And you can easily adjust the calories by just adding or subtracting almonds and honey. And if you want it to be really low calorie, you can also just leave out the almonds and honey completely and replace it with all kinds of fruits. I will say that I don't like to sleep right after eating. So whenever I don't have to wake up early the next morning, I like to just get some work done for about an hour or so, and then I'll take my magnesium and go to sleep. And with that, I'll say thank you and good night.
Good shot, come on.